News.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
Good evening. President Reagan today ended his 27-hour visit to Canada, leaving behind just as many differences with Prime Minister Trudeau as existed when he arrived, but nevertheless confident that a basis for future cooperation has been established. Leslie Stahl has our report from Ottawa.
President Reagan got a warm, if not rousing, reception today from the Canadian Parliament.
Et nous le faisons une fois encore aujourd'hui.
While he glossed over the differences between the two countries, Mr. Reagan remarked pointedly on the Soviet threat in this hemisphere and elsewhere.
We must stand together for the integrity of our hemisphere, for the inviolability of its nations, for its defense against imported terrorism, and for the rights of all our citizens to be freed from the provocations triggered from outside our sphere for malevolent purposes.
Mr. Trudeau said Canada is ready to work with the U.S., but then he seemed to lecture the president on his responsibilities to the Third World.
I believe that we must neither cower before reality nor oversimplify. Yet complexity should not obscure plain truth. On this most favored of continents, we cannot simply turn our gaze inwards and ignore poverty, ignorance, and injustice elsewhere.
Later, in remarks to the press, Mr. Trudeau admitted that in their private discussion, he had brought up what he called Canada's grievances with the U.S.
It began, of course, with an expression of our deep disappointment at the fact that the fisheries treaty had been withdrawn from the United States from ratification.
But both leaders ended up putting the best light possible on the meetings, calling them frank and constructive. Clearly, differences still remain between the two sides on the environment, energy, and trade. But the visit did serve to lower the temperature and the tensions. One reason, Mr. Reagan chose this country for his first foreign visit. That by itself flattered the Canadians. Second, Mr. Reagan and Trudeau seemed to hit it off. One Canadian official said it wasn't just Mr. Reagan's nice, easy manner and his jokes. It was his clear determination that the U.S. and Canada get along. Leslie Stahl, CBS News, Ottawa.
One major policy difference between the United States and Canada is this country's growing military involvement in El Salvador. As Robert Pierpoint now reports, it is not a difference that will make any difference.
Secretary of State Haig declared that despite Canada's objections, the United States will continue its military aid to El Salvador.
Yes, that is going to continue at a modest level, and I think by any measure of criteria, what has been done thus far is extremely modest, and I don't anticipate it'll go much beyond that. The government of El Salvador this past week has stated that it is not interested in American participation in any of the conflict, and we have no intention in any way of getting involved.
Our position, which we have enunciated both publicly and privately, is that we are opposed to all arms shipments to El Salvador.
However, McGuigan explained that Canada does support the U.S. backing of the current government in El Salvador, especially if it continues to move toward free elections next year. The foreign minister also confirmed that Canada has received one of those letters from Soviet President Brezhnev urging a Soviet-American summit. But the Canadians agree with the Americans that no such summit should be held without careful preparation.
If they are prepared well, they come out well. If one expects miracles at a sudden head of state or head of government confrontation across the table, they're going to be sadly disappointed. And that some meeting of the mind has to be arrived at, and that's in the area of the general level of Soviet international conduct in recent months and years. Illegal interventionisms in the Third World, the problems in Afghanistan, potential difficulties in Poland. All of these are factors.
It was another indication that as far as the Reagan administration is concerned, there will be no summit with Brezhnev in the foreseeable future. Robert Pierpoint, CBS News, Ottawa.
El Salvador's government today reportedly said no to an offer by the Organization of American States to mediate an end to that country's civil war. The OAS wanted to seek a political settlement between the present civilian military government and the leftist opposition. But according to sources, the government called the OAS offer completely unacceptable.
When we eat our shredded wheat, we never leave them whole. We mash them up and bash them up, we smash them in the bowl. We crush them, break them, squash them, squeeze them, twist them in our fists. We grind them into tiny, tasty bits.
Nabisco shredded wheat, big or little, made of 100% natural whole wheat, with no added sugar, no added salt.
They feel so good, they taste so good for breakfast. We love that whole wheat flavor, we love that whole wheat crunch.
Nabisco shredded wheats, the good taste of 100% whole wheat with no added sugar.
Natalie Wood in West Side Story 19 years ago. You should look at her now.
I loved working in West Side Story, but I wouldn't go back. Today's what counts. And Raintree helps you make the most of it.
Raintree Moisturizer is different. It has natural protein complex, smooths dry skin lines even around your eyes, and it's never greasy.
If you're like me, you don't want to go back in time. You want to stay ahead of it.
Raintree keeps your age your secret.
More than $4 billion of the Reagan budget cuts fall within the jurisdiction of one House Ways and Means subcommittee. They concern programs for the needy, and today that panel heard the cuts attacked and defended, the latter by Health and Human Services Secretary Schweiker. Susan Spencer was there.
Schweiker came determined to prove that the planned cut in funds for most social programs is imperative to gain control of the rampaging budget. And the consequences for the needy? Republicans led the secretary down a reassuring path.
So nobody is going to be left starving in the streets, is that correct?
Our budget is only being cut 3.5%. 3.5%. And if we can't do that, I don't know what we can do in this country.
But Democrats hinted that the administration's charts prove only what the administration wants, and some refuse to believe that the needy really can be spared.
What I'm basically suggesting is that we are going to kick out 680,000 plus families or reduce their benefits, and they are already living below the level at which we all agree is a poverty level. And how can you suggest that that isn't taking funds away from the truly needy?
You have to get into almost a case-by-case basis as to what the true needy is. We'll do it the least painful way, but we sure have to do it.
But Representative Shirley Chisholm argued that this way is most painful and objected to claims that many cuts are targeted at waste and fraud rather than at people.
Who in America is for waste, fraud, and inefficiency? The real issue is whether the president's proposals are justifiable in terms of their impact on the lives of people in this country. And we think they're not.
Also appealing to the panel today, actress Jane Russell, who urged that Congress spare money for a pet project of hers having to do with foster children.
Please don't let budget cutting hurt the world's most valuable resource, and our best hope for the future, our children.
The congressman politely agreed to try to help Jane Russell, but as for the Democrats stopping other major cuts, Subcommittee Chairman Stark said, "I feel like I'm leading a retreat." Susan Spencer, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
All of us at some time probably were taught about the law of supply and demand. But to judge from present conditions concerning gasoline, the law does not apply. Nelson Benton reports.
Amid a nationwide glut of gasoline, American motorists are using less and paying more for it. Gasoline in storage is near record levels. U.S. refineries are operating well below capacity. Amoco, for example, plans to shut down this refinery at Wood River, Illinois, later this year because of sagging demand. When Americans were waiting in line during the Arab embargo of 1973-74, they still managed to burn 6.1 million barrels of gasoline a day, according to Department of Energy figures. During February of this year, they were burning just a little less than that, 6 million barrels a day. The price of gasoline has more than doubled, changing the habits of drivers as well as their cars. Price increases have cooled off lately, but the national average price is about $1.39 a gallon, and it's still nipping up a penny here and a penny there. One industry man speculated that gasoline prices may have peaked, but others say the price plateau still is not in sight. Nelson Benton, CBS News, Washington.
Along with supply and demand conventional economics speaks of charging what the traffic will bear. And one service station operator has found that it will bear just about anything right now. Jerry Bowen reports from Corona, California.
Ken Warbrick, the man posing with the pump handle, is getting a lot of attention these days. Defying national trends, Warbrick has raised his gas prices to what may be the highest in the country, a fraction under $2 a gallon for his supreme unleaded fuel. Other prices at the full-service pumps following suit. $1.90 for normal unleaded, $1.80 for regular. Prices which have caught some customers by surprise.
So you're paying $1.90
Here, right here?
for a gallon of gasoline.
Gee, You're whiz. kidding.
$1.90. No wonder we're not getting very much with the money I give them.
Another customer was willing to fill his company truck at the high prices, but what about his personal car?
Oh, my personal car, no.
And two Hells Angels who identified themselves as Mescalero and Psycho were absolutely philosophical about the situation.
Gas station's the only one open. You gotta put gas, otherwise you're gonna walk.
Warbrick says the full service provided by his employees justifies the high prices necessitated by his own increased operating costs. And for those who can't afford it, there's always the self-service pump where gas is 50 cents a gallon less. And while business has not suffered, he concedes the customers don't always leave smiling.
This time I think they're willing to pay for it. People are unhappy. Like I said, I'm unhappy as hell about $2.36 a gallon for milk, but the wife says we need a gallon every other day for the kids. So I'm going to get it for them.
And if you're wondering how station owner Warbrick copes with the price of gas, well, he says he belongs to a carpool. Gas just costs too much these days. Jerry Bowen, CBS News, Corona, California.
Lots of families worry about money, but not us, because we're not alone.
We belong to a credit union, and we use it.
My paycheck goes straight in. It's like keeping the money in the family, because the members own the credit union.
And credit unions aren't out to make a profit.
That's why I got a low rate on my car loan.
That's why I get high interest on my savings.
We're a strong family, and we're part of one that's even stronger. America's Credit Unions. A family 44 million strong.
If one Rolaids tablet isn't always enough for your acid indigestion, watch this Tums demonstration. One Rolaids and one Tums tablet are added to stomach acid. Both neutralize the acid. But on those occasions when your stomach has even this much more acid, Tums can still absorb it. Rolaids can't. Because tablet for tablet, Tums neutralizes 1/3 more acid than Rolaids. For acid indigestion and heartburn, all you may need is this. Tums.
Gossip is part of the price of fame. It's often untrue, but given the sanctity of print, that's sometimes hard for readers to believe. And to prove that something is untrue takes time and money, which is why people who believe they've been libeled often avoid going to court. Entertainer Carol Burnett is not one of those people. She went into court today, and Linda Douglas was there.
Carol Burnett says she sees her multi-million-dollar libel suit against the National Enquirer as a case of the good guys versus the bad guys.
It's time to do something about these people.
What's your
Bad
response?
guys.
Burnett is charging the Enquirer defamed her 5 years ago when it reported she made a scene in a Washington restaurant, engaging in a loud argument with Henry Kissinger and spilling wine on a patron. Lawyers for the Enquirer say they discharged their legal responsibility to her by printing a retraction.
The key issues are whether the item is itself defamatory, which it clearly is not, whether the retraction set any alleged damage to rest, which I believe it did, and whether, even assuming all of the other things were not true, whether there was any damage.
Well, you know what that retraction is tantamount to, as far as I'm concerned? Is it a hit-and-run driver, and you're in the hospital, and they send you a bouquet of crabgrass?
With a circulation of about 5 million, the Enquirer features so-called inside stories about Hollywood stars, a number of whom are suing and watching this case closely. This morning, prospective jurors were asked if they thought publication should be allowed to print anything, good or bad. All said no. But when asked if celebrities must endure occasional gossip, all said yes. Jury selection continues tomorrow.
Researchers reported today that coffee drinking might be the major cause of cancer of the pancreas, this nation's 4th most common malignant disease. Doctors from the Harvard School of Public Health said people who drink as little as a cup or 2 of coffee a day are almost twice as likely as non-drinkers to get pancreas cancer, which kills 20,000 Americans yearly. But the researchers stopped short of recommending people not drink coffee. They said that although they found a strong statistical link between the beverage and the disease, there is no outright proof that coffee actually causes the cancer. The study's director said, however, "I can tell you that I myself have stopped drinking coffee." The National Coffee Association, a trade group, says its own research has found no correlation between coffee drinking and any form of cancer. Two new studies in the New England Journal of Medicine indicate there's risk in going to the hospital or under the knife. A study at the Boston University Medical Center found that 36% of the patients admitted over a 5-month period suffered illnesses resulting from drugs, therapy, or diagnostic procedures during their stay. And a study at Peter Brent Brigham Hospital discovered 36 operating room mistakes among 5,600 surgical patients. 11 patients died, 5 suffered serious physical impairment, and the mistakes added an average 42 days to the hospital stays at a combined cost of $1.7 million. One doctor commented, "Those 36 patients are a very low proportion, but for the patients and the families, it's a disaster." The stock market was down today.
I don't play pro ball anymore, but I still feel pretty good about myself. I follow a diet that cuts down on fats and cholesterol. Fleischmann's is a part of it, and it's delicious. So I feel good about Fleischmann's. It's the only leading margarine that's 100% corn oil. It's low in saturated fat and has 0 cholesterol. I feel good about Fleischmann's, and I feel good about Gifford. That's me.
You'll feel good about Fleischmann's.
Pontiac and your participating Pontiac dealer announce special cash bonuses on Grand Prix, Phoenix, and Firebird, delivered between now and March 19th. $700 bonus on Grand Prix, diesels included. $500 bonus on Phoenix, V6s and 4s included. $700 bonus on Firebird, V6s included. See your participating Pontiac dealer. Take delivery between now and March 19th. Pontiac will send you a check, or you can apply the bonus to your down payment. Hurry.
Atlanta officials now are asking concerned Americans to urge their congressmen to support legislation providing up to $1.8 million to fund the search for the city's child killer. Police received $400,000 today to aid that search, with expenses rising at more than $200,000 a month. And with the world watching, the city buried another of its dead. Sam Ford is in Atlanta.
Interest in the Atlanta child murder crisis is so widespread that the funeral of 13-year-old Curtis Walker today was covered by European as well as American media. Young Walker, child murder victim number 20, was found apparently strangled in a river last Friday. Like many of the victims, he had last been seen alive trying to find an odd job to make some pocket money.
You rightly would string us up if we told all that we're doing, because to tell you everything, regrettably, would be also to tell the killer.
It's true. You're right. That's right.
The city got help for its investigation from the state today as Governor George Busby presented the mayor with $200,000 to add to the $200,000 raised at a Sammy Davis Jr. Frank Sinatra benefit concert last night. The police department is more than $500,000 over budget. It was announced today that the city's police task force has worked out its differences with neighboring police jurisdictions where bodies have been found. The police chiefs who met yesterday agreed to make the task force the prime investigative agency in all child cases. Police Commissioner Lee Brown at his news conference today was happy to make that announcement, but not so happy about the arrival of New York City's Guardian Angels, a young vigilante group that patrols New York City's subways.
We don't have many subways in Atlanta. And beyond that, it's rather presumptuous that they think they can come and organize our community. We shall have one police department in Atlanta. That's the Atlanta Police Bureau.
The Guardian Angels, who arrived this morning by train, say they plan to mobilize children to protect themselves, not to do detective work.
We're not here to start a Guardian Angel group in Atlanta, just to offer our experience. We could not sit by in New York and watch and wait for one more body to be found before we came down.
And although it's spring break for Atlanta City school children, numerous schools will stay open through Friday as a kind of babysitting service so working parents can make sure their children are off the streets. Sam Ford, CBS News, Atlanta.
Pakistani negotiators arrived in Damascus today to try to win the release of more than 100 persons taken hostage on a Pakistani airliner 10 days ago. The Pakistani officials brought with them 3 political prisoners freed by President Zia, but the 3 gunmen holding the plane have demanded the release of 92 prisoners from Pakistani jails. Otherwise, the gunmen say, they will take drastic action tomorrow morning. Britain's master spy is dead. He was Sir Maurice Oldfield, for 12 years, chief of MI6, the fabled British intelligence agency. Sir Maurice was considered the model for the characters of boss spy Smiley in John le Carré's novels, and of M in Ian Fleming's James Bond books. A brief announcement said he died Tuesday at the age of 65. With intriguing reticence, the announcement did not say of what Sir Maurice died, or just where.
Presenting new gold label VO5 hairspray, the best VO5 yet. Its incredible 14-hour hold has now been improved to look more natural. So natural your hair moves this free, this easy, yet holds this beautifully.
Hold with the gold.
New Alberto VO5 hairspray with improved 14-hour hold to look more natural.
Hold with the gold.
In aerosol or fine mist pump.
Managing the Roman meal mill is not all a desk job. I am responsible for buying all the ingredients, including rye, bran, and hard red spring wheat. Quality control for a Roman meal begins in the grain field and doesn't end until the loaf is on your table. I am very proud of Roman meal bread. People like it.
Quality ingredients and special people help make Roman meal bread light brown, tender textured, and delicious.
It's largely agreed that November's election sent winds of change through American life, mandating a more conservative approach to the nation's problems. Less federal spending, some say, and lower taxes. It may be a while before we see the results of those programs, but some also view the election as inspiration to censor what people read and see and hear. And the results of those efforts, as Eric Ingberg reports, already are being felt.
This is a religious gathering.
How do you feel, Ted?
Jesus is Lord!
The Peters brothers, fundamentalist ministers from St. Paul, Minnesota, traveled the country preaching that rock music has no place in the life of a real Christian.
Hey, if the devil isn't using immoral sex, if he's not using impure thoughts in young people, if he's not using rock music, if he's not using drugs, if he's not using alcohol to lure young people away from God, what is the devil using?
At the end of their 2-day seminar on the evils of rock, they call on youthful followers to burn their albums and to carry the message to their friends.
The Peters are part of a cultural counter-revolution aimed at reversing what many see as this country's slide into immorality. Cashing in on the results of November's conservative election sweep, the counter-revolution is stepping up efforts to control the books people read, the movies they see, the records they listen to.
I have a right to go to the school and inspect materials that the children are reading, whether they're my children or not.
Charles Salterman heads a citizens group in the rural community of Montello, Wisconsin. 3 weeks ago, members descended on 2 school libraries and checked out 33 books, including The Great Gatsby, The Diary of Anne Frank, and Catch-22, to determine, they said, their fitness for young people.
Sure that if we would take all the books off the shelf that they deemed need to come off the shelf, they'd be happy. I think we have the democratic process that says that your children and my children and everybody else's child has the right to have certain books available to them.
Under fire from the school board, local newspapers, and even some high school students, Solderman's concerned citizens returned most of the books. Others they held back, books that dealt with sex or contained profanity or discussed religion. Among them, the teenage body book, Man-Child in the Promised Land, and Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Last week, at a stormy meeting of the board, Solderman handed over the remaining books, but challenged their continued presence in school libraries. The challenge is now pending.
Literally, the public library is a dangerous place. That is, it's a dangerous place if you if you are opposed to the free exchange of ideas. Any man can get his poison here.
In Tampa, Florida, the issue extends to the public libraries. It centers on Where Did I Come From, a sex education book librarians say is a highly regarded standard in its field. The book was borrowed from a public library branch by a 7-year-old with the permission of his parents. A teacher confiscated the book at school on the grounds it was not suitable for children. An outraged PTA president demanded action from the local government. As a result, a conservative county commissioner has launched a campaign to remove the book and 5 others, including How Babies Are Made, from the library's juvenile section.
And if they don't, then, we will take it one step further. And we'll certainly scrutinize and look at their particular budgets and their activities of the public library system.
Attempts to ban books from library shelves nationwide have doubled in recent months, according to the American Library Association. Often, the group called Moral Majority has taken the lead in such efforts. The story is as old as the country. Those who see their moral values under attack versus those who see their freedoms under attack.
I think that we're seeing that kids can't read in the public schools, they can't add, they can't fill out a checkbook, they don't know how to fill out an employment application, but they know their sex education pretty well.
The values in our society have changed immensely since these people went to high school. There's a whole value change there as far as the type of language that is used between the kids in the school.
I can't change their morals, that's true. But I do object to their immorality being forced on people that object to it, including me.
It's amazing, the views expressed here. What is your specific objection to the book? And the person says vulgar and obscene. And we ask, what would you like the library to do about this book? And they say, would you like to use a pack of matches? Burn it.
Few challengers of the status quo pack the showmanship of the Peters album burnings. That does not diminish their overall determination or their confidence. Those now pushing to restrict what people hear and read and see uniformly point to the last election as confirmation that they are not a minority, but a growing majority in this country. Eric Engberg, CBS News, Baker, Louisiana.
That's our report for this Wednesday. Until tomorrow, Dan Rather, CBS News. Good night.
If you ran into an old boyfriend, would the years look better on him than on you? I wondered until I discovered Oil of Olay, the beauty fluid that's similar to your skin's own natural fluids. Each drop penetrates quickly without being greasy, easing dryness to help soften the signs of age.
It's been a long time, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You look great.
Thank you.
Discover the mystery of Oil of Olay. It can help you look younger, too.
Fix Formula 44D, please.
Helen, with this nasty cough plus congestion, I need...
Formula 44D.
But Helen, I need a decongestant, not just strong cough medicine.
You need Formula 44D. It's strong like Formula 44. Has the strongest non-narcotic cough suppressant you can buy. Plus ingredients to help unstuff your nose and loosen up for chest congestion.
That's what I said. Formula 44D. Strong for coughs plus congestion.
This has been the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
I'm Charles Kuralt. The sound of the Reagan budget axe is heard only faintly on the tobacco farm. A report tomorrow on Morning.
This is CBS.
WSM Television is for sale.